You wake up, you check your phone, you scroll, you sip your coffee, you move through the motions, you're alive, but something is missing. There's no war, no famine, no obvious enemy, and yet it feels like you're fighting for something you can't name. A vague ache, a hollowness behind your eyes, a hunger that food cannot touch. This is the crisis of the modern soul, surrounded by everything, yet starved of meaning. Nietzsche saw this coming. Long before social media, long before the burnout generation, long before the age of influencers and antidepressants. He declared, "God is dead." But what he really meant was this: the framework that once held our lives together has collapsed, and now we must either build new meaning or be crushed by the weight of meaninglessness. So the question is not, what's the point? The real question is, will you have the courage to create one? You are not lost because you are weak. You are lost because the maps are outdated. In a world that worships productivity, you confuse motion with purpose. In a culture that celebrates noise, you forget how to listen to yourself. And behind all of it, the smiling selfies, the promotions, the perfectly curated lives, is a deep, gnawing silence. The age of nihilism and spiritual fatigue. Nietzsche called it nihilism, the moment when all inherited values collapse, when old gods die, but no new stars have risen to guide us. You feel it in the background hum of your life. A dull ache, a quiet suspicion that all of this might be meaningless. It is not a dramatic despair. It is slow, insidious. It creeps in when you check your phone for the 100th time, when you smile at parties but feel unseen, when your victories taste hollow, when your dreams feel like assignments. You are not alone in this. This is the sickness of the age. Nietzsche saw it not as the end, but as the beginning, the burning of the forest that makes room for new life, but only if you dare to face the ashes. Why comfort creates emptiness. You were promised that safety would make you happy, that routine would bring peace, that comfort would heal you. And yet the more stable your life becomes, the more hollow it feels. Because meaning does not grow in comfort. Meaning is born in friction, in struggle, in risk, in saying yes to something larger than convenience. Nietzsche knew that the soul thrives not on pleasure, but on challenge, on becoming, on transcending the self. And yet, here you are, living someone else's definition of success, and wondering why your spirit is starving. It is not more comfort you need. It is purpose. The death of God as the death of certainty. When Nietzsche said, "God is dead," he wasn't celebrating. He was mourning. He saw that the foundation of Western meaning, religion, morality, divine order, was eroding, and once it crumbled, nothing would be left to hold us upright. No objective truth, no universal law, no cosmic safety net, just the terrifying, liberating truth. You are responsible for your own existence. This is not a curse, this is a call. To stop asking the world to define you, to stop waiting for a sign, to step forward and become the source of your own fire. But first, you must face the darkness of freedom, the hunger for authenticity in a world of roles. You play roles: the productive worker, the loyal partner, the happy friend, the motivated dreamer. But inside you are tired. Tired of pretending, tired of adjusting, tired of shaping yourself to fit into systems that feel dead. Nietzsche would ask, what if your exhaustion is not failure, but rebellion? What if your weariness is your soul whispering, "This is not who I am"? In a world addicted to surface, to conformity, to fast answers and empty smiles, authenticity becomes an act of revolt. And revolt, Nietzsche believed, is the first breath of rebirth. There is no going back. The old gods are gone. The old truths are broken, but this is not the end. It is the silence before the symphony, because if meaning no longer exists out there, then it must begin in you. If the old gods are dead, if the sky is empty, then the only place left to find direction is within. But Nietzsche doesn't want you to look inward for comfort. He wants you to look inward for a storm, because inside you is not just a soul, but a forge. And in that forge, you are meant to create not just art or love or work, but your values. Meaning as something you must create, not find. You've been told to seek meaning, as if it were buried treasure, a prize, a destination. But Nietzsche turns that on its head. He says, there is no meaning waiting for you. You must build it, shape it, bleed for it. This is terrifying because it means nothing is guaranteed, but it is also exhilarating because it means nothing is forbidden. Meaning is not given. It is earned through the courage to create it. And that creation begins with the question, what do I truly value? Not because I was told to, but because it burns in my bones. The will to power beyond domination. Much has been misunderstood about Nietzsche's most powerful concept, the will to power. It is not about conquering others, it is about overcoming yourself. It is the drive to grow, to expand, to become more than you were yesterday, not through obedience but through self-mastery. The will to power is what wakes you up in despair and whispers, not this, rise. It is the inner fire that demands, don't just survive, transform. This will does not beg for permission. It builds, even in ruins. When you feel that hunger inside to do something real, something hard, something that costs you your comfort, that is your will to power calling you into life. Answer it. How values are born from inner necessity. So many of your beliefs are secondhand. You inherited them, absorbed them, obeyed them. But Nietzsche says, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. Your freedom begins when your values are no longer inherited, but necessary. When they rise not from fear, but from fire. What do you stand for? What would you protect, even if no one applauded? What is sacred to you, not because it's popular, but because it feels true? That's where your real values live, not in your opinions, but in your sacrifices. To create values is to become your own authority, not loud, not arrogant, but sovereign. It is to live not in reaction, but in alignment, escaping herd morality and reclaiming inner law. Nietzsche warned of herd morality, the values shaped by the majority, designed to keep people obedient, predictable, small. The herd loves comfort. The herd fears difference. The herd punishes the one who walks alone. But the truth is, you were not meant to live by committee. Your soul is not a democracy. To reclaim your inner law, you must be willing to be misunderstood, to walk away, to offend, to feel alone. But in that solitude, you find something rare, a voice that is your own. You begin to realize, I do not need to believe what others believe to live fully. I do not need to kneel at the altar of normal. You begin to live vertically, not horizontally, not scanning the crowd but listening inward. And there you find the beginning of true meaning. Meaning does not come from being accepted. It comes from being aligned, not with the world, but with your highest possibility. And so the old question, what is the meaning of life, dissolves. The real question becomes, what will I dare to create, no matter the cost? You were not born finished. You were born as potential, raw, volatile, sacred. But from the first moment you opened your eyes, the world began its carving. Be this, don't be that. This is who you are. And so you adapted. You learned how to fit in, how to perform, how to wear masks so well that eventually you forgot they were masks. Nietzsche offers you no salvation, no comfort. He offers you a mirror and a hammer, because before you can become who you are, you must first destroy who you were told to be. Self-overcoming as spiritual growth. Nietzsche did not believe in self-improvement. He believed in self-overcoming. To overcome the self is to go beyond comfort, beyond repetition, beyond even what you think you are. It is to transcend the limited idea of me that was shaped by trauma, culture, and fear. Growth is not addition. It is transformation. The caterpillar does not become more of itself. It dissolves. And you, if you are brave enough, must dissolve your old self too. The people pleaser, the perfectionist, the obedient one, the image you crafted to survive. Nietzsche's path is not for the faint of heart, but it is the only path where your soul can breathe. Identity as a dynamic process. You think you are someone, but Nietzsche says you are always becoming. Identity is not a fixed point. It is a process, a movement, a dance, a becoming. The danger lies in mistaking your current self for your final form. Every time you say, "I am," you risk limiting the next version of you that is begging to be born. Who you were yesterday is not a prison, it is a cocoon. And if you cling to it, out of fear, out of nostalgia, out of pride, you will suffocate your evolution. To become who you are is to remain in motion, to shed skins again and again, until what is false can no longer survive the heat of your own becoming. The masks we wear, and how to shatter them. You wear masks, we all do. The strong one, the smart one, the funny one, the one who has it all together. These masks are not evil, they were survival, but they are not you. And there comes a moment, usually after a heartbreak, a failure, or a deep spiritual exhaustion, when the mask no longer fits. That moment is sacred. Nietzsche would not tell you to remove the mask gently. He would hand you a hammer, because until you destroy the image, the true face cannot be seen. You must ask, what am I performing? Who am I trying to impress? What would I say if I wasn't afraid of being abandoned? And then say it. Let the false self burn. It is the only way the real one can emerge. Saying no to imitation, yes to transformation. You were not meant to imitate. You were meant to become. But imitation is tempting. It's safe. It's rewarded. Follow the trends. Mimic the successful. Live someone else's dream and call it your own. But Nietzsche knew imitation is spiritual death. To truly live is to risk the unknown, to follow a path that doesn't exist until you walk it, to say no to borrowed truths and yes to the frightening, luminous call of your inner voice. It will cost you. Fitting in will become impossible. Belonging will become rare. But what you gain is worth everything, a life that is yours. Not inherited, not performed, not safe, but true. So do not ask, who am I? Ask instead, who am I becoming? And then have the courage to become it. Because the most dangerous person in the world is the one who no longer needs to pretend. Imagine this moment, your exact life, every joy, every regret, every word you've spoken, every silence you kept. Now imagine this moment repeating forever, not just once, not just for 1,000 lifetimes, but eternally. Could you endure it? This is the thought of eternal recurrence, Nietzsche's most radical demand. Live as if every moment will return eternally, exactly as it is, and suddenly, every choice becomes sacred, living as if you'd repeat this moment forever. It's easy to drift, to waste time, to betray ourselves for convenience, to say tomorrow to everything our soul begs for today. But Nietzsche forces us into an uncomfortable intimacy with now. If you had to relive this exact moment, your current habits, relationships, distractions, compromises, forever, would you change anything? This is not meant to depress you. It is meant to wake you up, to shake you from numbness, to ask, are you living in such a way that you would bless this moment for eternity? If not, then now is the time to turn. How repetition reveals value. You can lie to yourself once, but if forced to repeat your life endlessly, the illusion shatters. Eternal recurrence strips life of excuses. It strips it of luck, of randomness. It reveals what truly matters, because only what is meaningful can be born again and again. A fake smile won't last 1,000 cycles. A hollow job becomes unbearable in the loop. An unlived life becomes a prison. But truth, courage, beauty born of suffering, these are eternal. To live well is to live repetitively well, and only you know what that means for you. Time as a mirror of your choices. We often treat time as disposable, as if it stretches infinitely ahead, as if we can waste it freely. But Nietzsche flips this. He says, time is a mirror, not a line. It reflects back not just what you do, but who you are becoming. Every choice echoes, every compromise echoes, every refusal to change or to become echoes. So if your time loops forever, who do you become? What patterns do you inherit or shatter or sanctify? Nietzsche's challenge is brutal, but cleansing. There is no final judgment. Only this moment, over and over. So live now in a way you would choose forever. The beauty and terror of radical presence. The thought of eternal recurrence terrifies the part of you that clings to escape, to someday, to it'll get better, to next time. But that terror is holy. Because what Nietzsche is really offering you is the gift of radical presence. This is your life, not tomorrow, not your dreams, this. And in that fierce light, you either fall apart or you rise. When you embrace this moment, even with its pain, its flaws, its failures, as yours, when you stop negotiating with time, when you stop postponing your truth, then you begin to live as though eternity is not a punishment, but a blessing, because presence, lived deeply, becomes sacred, and sacred living leaves no regret. Are you ready to live as if your life repeats forever? If the answer is no, then something must change. And in the final chapter, Nietzsche hands you the pen, not to find meaning, but to become it. You've broken the old truths. You've stared into the void. You've begun to create your own values. You've faced the eternal echo of your life and asked, am I living in a way worth repeating? Now comes the sacred task, not to explain meaning, but to embody it. Nietzsche called this being the Übermensch, the overman, not a superior being in the arrogant sense, but someone who lives with such inner sovereignty, such fierce alignment, that their life becomes a work of art. This is not a person you become. This is a path you walk, every moment, every breath, from survival to creation. Most lives are lived in survival mode, reacting, defending, conforming, enduring. But the overman does not survive. He creates, not just art, not just work, but reality itself. His actions are not borrowed. His values are not inherited. His voice is not an echo. He sculpts meaning from the chaos of existence, refusing to let fate write his story for him. Where others see confusion, he sees possibility. Where others seek comfort, he seeks becoming. The overman lives by a law that does not yet exist until he writes it, and that law is carved into every action, every boundary, every love, every no, every yes. Why solitude refines your vision. To walk this path, you will be alone, not always physically, but spiritually, because meaning cannot be mass-produced, truth cannot be voted on, and no one else can see the world through your soul. Nietzsche retreated into mountains, into silence, into pain, not to escape, but to see clearly. Solitude strips away distraction. It silences the noise of culture, of family, of history, and in that silence, something emerges. Not comfort, but vision. The overman walks with the clarity that only solitude can gift. The kind of clarity that allows you to live for what matters, not just what's expected. Dancing with chaos, not controlling it. Life is chaos. Nietzsche never denied it. He celebrated it. But where the weak seek control, seek order, seek to cage life into safe boxes, the overman dances with chaos. He does not need certainty. He does not need guarantees. He does not fear the unknown, because he knows creation comes from the unknown. New values are born from the storm. Freedom is not the absence of chaos. It is the courage to dance within it. So let go of the need to control, to plan, to perfect. Instead, step into the rhythm of your becoming. Let chaos be your crucible. Become the meaning you seek. Call to action. Stop waiting for someone to tell you what life means. Stop outsourcing your truth. Stop begging the world to explain your existence, because you are the meaning in how you rise, in what you protect, in what you build with your breath, your pain, your choices. Nietzsche does not hand you answers. He hands you a mirror, a hammer, a blank page. And now it is your turn to write. If this awakens something in you, don't turn away. Don't scroll past your rebirth. Watch again, reflect, question everything. Then go out and live as if your soul was sovereign, because it is. Become who you are, not tomorrow, now.